All right, let's dive right in. We're going to explore a strange little mystery about a holiday, but what it really does is reveal something much, much bigger about the world we live in and our own minds.
So, let me start by asking you a question that might feel a little weird. I want you to check your own memory, right now. When you were growing up, what was the rule for Thanksgiving? Just hold that answer in your head for a second.
Okay, so a huge number of people on the internet are absolutely positive the rule is the third Thursday. But if you look at any official record, any calendar, any photo, it's always the fourth Thursday. We're talking about a whole week's difference. But for so many people, that third Thursday just feels right.
Well, this thing actually has a name. It's called the Mandela effect. It's when countless people share the exact same false memory. And this whole Thanksgiving third Thursday debate, it's a textbook example. It's a moment where our collective memory just seems to split from recorded reality.
And here's where it gets truly wild. People will cling to this memory even when their own photos with timestamps or old travel receipts prove they celebrated on the fourth Thursday. The little rule they think they remember becomes more real to them than their own actual life.
Now, it's so easy to just dismiss this as a simple mistake, right? But history has a really surprising twist for us here. Turns out our collective memory of this holiday has been messed with before.
You're not going to believe this, but from 1939 to 1941, the country was basically in chaos over the date of Thanksgiving. Why? Because FDR actually moved it a week earlier to try and extend the Christmas shopping season. For a few years, different states were celebrating on completely different weeks.
Yeah, the move was so controversial it got its own nickname, Franksgiving, and it became this bitter political issue. And this part is so important. Our collective reality around this date was officially changed. So the memory of a different date isn't coming out of thin air. It's like an echo of a real historical fight.
Okay, knowing all that, let's circle back to the original mystery. If the date is totally fixed now, why do so many of us still get it wrong? What is going on in our brains?
Well, psychology has a few really good explanations. It might be what's called an illusion of time. When the fourth Thursday falls really late in the month, it just feels wrong. Or it could be cognitive dissonance. It's just psychologically easier to defend what you believe than to admit you made a simple mistake. Or maybe it's just the power of suggestion. A plausible-sounding rule spreads, and our brain takes a shortcut, maybe confusing it with rules for other holidays.
And this quote just nails the bigger question, doesn't it? This isn't really about a holiday. It's about how we process information and defend our beliefs, even when we're staring at clear evidence. It's like a small-scale test of how we handle being wrong.
So, we know our memories can be flawed and our sense of the past can be an echo of old debates. But what if the reality we're living in isn't just being misremembered, but is being actively and intentionally shaped? What happens when really powerful people decide the existing rules of the world just aren't working for them?
This brings us to a fascinating philosophy some sources call ideological entrepreneurialism, often associated with the tech billionaire Peter Thiel. The core idea is that you can use technology and capital to literally create whole new systems and rewrite the rules of society. It's not about misremembering reality, it's about building a new one.
Take PayPal, for example. We think of it as just a way to send money online, right? But according to the source material, its early vision was so much bigger. It was an attempt to create a global currency completely outside the control of any government. It was about engineering a brand new financial reality from scratch.
And the argument presented basically follows a kind of blueprint. First, you identify a system you think is failing. Then you build the tools, both technological and political, to challenge it. And finally, you work to replace it with something that matches your own vision. It's a literal playbook for changing the world on your own terms.
You can actually see this shift in thinking just by looking at the investments. The focus moves from platforms designed to connect people, like early Facebook, to tools of surveillance and control used by governments and defense agencies. It's a move from creating free spaces to creating controlled ones.
I mean, this quote from an essay written back in 2009 really captures the whole philosophy. If the existing reality doesn't work for you, you build a new one. This is the ultimate rejection of the status quo, not by mistake, but by design.
And we have to remember, the capital to even attempt this kind of reality shaping is immense. It started with the sale of PayPal, which then funded some of the most influential companies in Silicon Valley. This was never just a philosophical exercise, it was backed by massive, massive financial power.
So, look at the journey we've been on.
We started with a simple personal false memory about a holiday, and we've ended up at a massive, well-funded effort to actively construct a new version of reality. One is kind of an accident of the mind, the other is a deliberate act of will.
And all of this brings us to a final, much more personal question, right? If our own memories can be faulty, and these powerful forces are actively trying to shape our world, then what part of us is actually real? What's the thing that remains constant through all of it?
There's one philosophical idea that suggests that, amidst all this change, there is a core consciousness that stays the same. It argues that the real work isn't about controlling the outside world, but about keeping that inner self, that core awareness, in tune as the world shifts around it.
Which leads us with a final thought. The whole Third Thursday thing is a fun mystery, for sure, but it's also a powerful reminder to maybe question the things we just take for granted as real. Because, whether it's our own memory playing tricks on us or someone else trying to write the rules, our reality might just be a little more fragile than we think.